moment, however, she was in that murky world between childhood and serious adolescence. In one light, she might pass for 10. In another, she might be mistaken for 14. "She didn't say we were making anything up," Willow murmured, and then she did exactly what her grandmother wanted most in the world that very moment. She reached over to her cousin from Manhattan and pulled the older girl's nightgown down over her knee, so that taut and tanned 12-year-old thigh once again was decently covered. "If I had a gun, I would have shot it," Charlotte grumbled, widening her eyes as she spoke, because she understood her remark was so gloriously inflammatory. "Well, not it, of course. Dad would completely disown me if I ever did something like that. But maybe I would have shot near it, scared its beak off." "Do you know why a woodpecker might drum in July?" Nan asked them. "Because it's an idiot." "Charlotte," Willow began, but her cousin cut her off. "It is. Why do you think we have the expression bird brain?" The woman watched Willow's round face carefully. The girl was 2 years younger than Charlotte, and she lived in northern Vermont, barely 2 hours from this house, actually. She had worried this whole month that Charlotte would corrupt young Willow. So far, that hadn't happened, but she knew there was still plenty of time. She saw now that Willow was more hurt by Charlotte's tone than impressed by her attitude. "Have you seen the crow?" Willow asked her grandmother. "Yes, why?" "It's so big. I never think of crows as big, but twice yesterday near the garden by the apple trees, I saw it." Charlotte rolled her eyes. "It's probably a raven, then. Ravens are much huger, right, Grandmother?" "No, it is indeed a crow. There's a family with a nest at the top of one of the white pines near the strawberry patch. Try an experiment later today, if you feel like it. Before we leave for the club, place a dime in the driveway near the trees. Maybe even tilt it on its side so it catches the sun. When we return, there's a good chance the dime will be gone." "Oh, good," Charlotte said, and she smiled. "A woodpecker so dim he thinks bashing on the roof will get him a girlfriend, and a crow who's a petty thief. What nice birds you have, Grandmother." "He wants the dime because it's shiny," Nan said simply, as she carefully placed the wicker tray that held her coffee on the table beside the chaise and stood up. "Now, what would you two like for breakfast? I actually have some pancake batter in the refrigerator from yesterday, and, of course, sausages." "Dad would freak if he knew how much meat you were trying to feed us," Charlotte told her. "Yes, your father probably would. You don't have to eat it, but Willow and I still eat dead things." "Yes, we do." Willow's hair was the color of a sand dollar that has not yet been bleached by the sun. She looked up now and said to her grandmother, "Maybe I'll just have pancakes this morning, too, please." "What, no sausages?" Nan asked, unable to hide the surprise in her voice. "No, thank you. Not today." "Hallelujah," Charlotte said happily, and then she climbed off the chair and ran up the stairs to get dressed. Willow paused for a moment, and it seemed to her grandmother that there was something more she wanted to say. But then she stood too, shrugged her shoulders, and raced up the steps after her cousin. As Nan dropped the pancake batter onto the electric skillet, the phone rang. Nan Seton had never bothered to purchase a cordless phone, and so she made a mental note as she scooted in her slippers across the long kitchen to keep the call brief. She did not want the pancakes to wind up looking like charcoal briquettes. "Hello?" "Hi, Nan, it's Marguerite." "I'm making the girls' breakfast." "Oh, I'll just be a minute. Do you remember how you noticed at the club yesterday that Walter Durnip's color wasn't very good?" "Vaguely. He looked a little gray." He did. Well, he died." Nan sat on the wooden stool by the phone and nodded to herself. "How?" "In his sleep." "That's how I want to go. What was it, a heart attack, a stroke?" "I don't know, but when he went to bed, he didn't say anything to Elizabeth about how he felt. He just went to sleep. And when Elizabeth woke up this morning, she knew right away he was dead." "He was 84, wasn't he?" "Something like that. Elizabeth doesn't know for sure when she's going to have the funeral yet, but it will probably be the day after tomorrow, Saturday." "Saturday? Too bad. Oh, well, At least by then I'll have a house full, so the girls won't have to go. John and Catherine arrive tomorrow, Nan said, referring not to a husband and a wife, but to her son and her daughter. Nan knew from years of conversations exactly like this one with her friend Marguerite that she did not need to explain that when she said Catherine, she meant Catherine and her husband Spencer, and when she said John, she meant John, his wife Sarah, and now their infant son Patrick. How long are they staying? Catherine and Spencer are both taking next week off. Isn't that nice? They'll be here for 9 days. And John and Sarah are bringing the baby, right? Of course. You will have a house full. John and Sarah will only be here for the weekend, till Monday morning. Still, it will be good fun. I'm sure the girls miss their parents. The only hard part is going to be dinner, because Spencer is just so difficult. Being a vegetarian is no big deal, Nan. Lots of people are. There are degrees, and most people don't obsess about it the way he does, or lecture their dinner companions the way he does. Upstairs in the bedroom above the dining room, she heard a colossal thud, and then she heard the girls laughing hysterically. "How is Elizabeth doing?" Nan asked, referring back to her and Marguerite's mutual friend, a woman who, like her and Marguerite, was now a widow. "Oh, I believe she's fine," Marguerite told her, her voice as light as a dandelion puffball in May. "Good. Walter was a lot of work, wasn't he?" "A lot of work," Marguerite agreed. While the girls were picking apart their grandmother's pancakes with their forks, Charlotte's father, Spencer, was standing before 150 executives and middle managers from the American Association of Meat Substitutes in the Ticonderoga Room in a conference center in Westchester County. Spencer was asked to speak here this morning, both to provide the group with some light breakfast entertainment and to inspire them in their ongoing efforts to garner more and more refrigerator and freezer case space in the nation's mainstream supermarkets for their garden burgers and faux sausages. He was beginning his speech with his own restaurant experiences when he was 19, his very first summer in Sugar Hill, New Hampshire. He guessed he was choosing this part of his life because he and Catherine would be flying there tomorrow for their annual summer vacation. He had already told the crowd of the restaurant's snappish, dying lobsters, those behemoth earwigs on steroids, and then of the busloads of senior citizens in their thin plastic bibs who came to the steer by the shore to devour them. "No one could cleaver a live lobster as quickly as I could," he said now, segueing from his well-practiced Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step confessional tone into what he considered his Baptist preacher's crescendo. "That's not hyperbole, that's not immodesty, that's fact. I could kill 2 in a minute. One night I killed 64 in half an hour and change, enough for the whole bus." The audience laughed with him, appalled, and he shook his head now, suggesting that in hindsight he couldn't believe what he had done. And the truth was, he couldn't. He remembered those evenings well, especially the nights when there would be those sightseeing tours. As soon as the bus would coast into the dirt and gravel parking lot, he would retrieve the wooden coop with the torpid crustaceans from the walk-in refrigerator so that the creatures were right there beside him on the floor. Then, like an automaton, he would bend over and grab one from the container that reeked of low tide and pin the writhing, asphyxiating decapod on its back. He would uncoil the springy ribbon of tail and hold down the bulbous crusher claw with his fingers for the split second it took him to line up the cleaver on the lobster's carapace, an unbuttoned sports jacket he thought at the time, so that the animal's abdomen was exposed. Then he would press the metal blade straight down as it breathed. But not, alas, breathed its last. The point was to get the creature into the 450-degree oven while it was still alive. The animal would cook for 10 to 12 minutes. I presumed it finished dying within the very first, but that probably wasn't the case, he said, his voice softening both for effect and because he knew this was true, and it disturbed him. "First it's the whales, then it's the dolphins. Next it will be the tuna. It'll never stop, you know, until someone's protecting the bloody lobsters." The words of a whaler, an otherwise charismatic old bird with a furrowed, hard-bitten face, spoken to Spencer the year before last at a gathering of the International Whaling Commission he'd attended in Japan.